I am Monica. I am with Temple of Geek, and I'm so excited to talk to you, Carolina. Acapulco is one of my favorite shows, and it's so good. And what I love about Acapulco is the way that it's funny, but never at the cost of a stereotype or in a way that humiliates characters. It's funny because it's written well and it's relatable. And even though it's set in the 1980s, the stories are really relatable. But what I
Mhm.
love the most about it is that every character is a whole person. No one feels sidelined. It feels like each character has a life and dreams, and even small stories can be great stories. I especially feel that way for your character, Lorena. What was your favorite aspect of bringing her to life over the past four seasons?
Well, first of all, thank you for saying that. We really appreciate every person that watches this show. And it's a testament to what you said, the writing. The writers are an amazing group of people with all walks of life and experiences. And you can tell with the characters, they're really three-dimensional and they do a justice to each and all of us, which is, we're a lot. It's a big cast. So it's hard to do. With Lorena, for me, seeing her grow every season a little bit more and getting to tell her story through the lens of what she's going through, where she comes from, and her relationship with Fernando was the greatest gift I could have had, because when I first started, I had no idea this was going to lead me 4 years in, telling her story this way, in a very wholesome way. She's very driven, she's very ambitious, and you get to see her turn into a woman in the show. So, to be honest, when I first started, I was just happy to be there and absorbing everything and learning from my castmates. And as the show went on and they kept giving me more of a story, I was just ready to jump in and add those dimensions and those layers that everybody has. And I think it's the writing, it's the directing, and it's also like what the actor brings in. So it's just been a blessing to see her grow, into a woman.
Was there anything about her development that surprised you?
Oh my God, a lot. um, and every season it kept being different, because every season I thought it was going to be the end and then get to come back and tell her story more. And then once it was established that I was here to stay, um, what surprised me the most, I think, was her ambition. And it's not that everyone around her didn't have that. It's more so that I didn't know what she wanted to do within that parameter, that context. And when I saw her being inspired by her best friend, being in the front desk, and her wanting to just also sort of go up in ranks, I was really pleasefully surprised by that. And then her relationships with everyone in the hotel, how she kept nurturing them, being a voice, sort of like what Fernando Carza does in the show. He's sort of this like sounding pad to his friends. And I was really pleasefully surprised that that happened with Lorena. So I loved it.
I also love their love story because I think it's so wholesome and so sweet, but so real. And it's just like, it's so cute. And it's one of my favorites. Like, it's not like the main love story, right? But it's so
No.
good and it's so wholesome. What was it like working with Fernando?
Oh, I love Fernando. We were soulmates in another life, that is for sure. We've talked about this extensively. We just have so many little things in common that are so random. And when we first met, it was just this instant click. Like our souls were really meant to meet at that time. So I think it shows with the chemistry that we have. There's this underlying friendship that we've built throughout the years. He's just such a generous actor, and above all that, he's very disciplined, extremely. And maybe it's not something you sort of see a lot or would imagine of someone that's so like comedic, and you feel like he's doing everything out of like improv, and then this happens, which does happen. But he's extremely disciplined with the craft. He loves to study. He's one of the first actors that knows everything that's going on with every episode. They come in and he had already read the episodes, known his lines, and you see him working through it. So above like the friendship aspect that we've built, I really admire his work ethic in the show. So it's something that I'll carry with me forever because I felt like I had to bring an A game every time we were in a scene together. Because he was just so prepared. Even if I didn't know what was going on, he's like, you're doing this and this and that, and then this is happening. And I was like, wow, thank you. He's a
It's
great
nice to
teammate.
have a buddy with you.
Yeah, he's just a great teammate, and he raises the bar every time we're there. He's For me, he's one of the best comedic actors I've ever seen. The way he can just like boom 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 in every scene, and they change things a lot right there and then in Acapulco, and it's very impressive when somebody can just roll with the punches.
And speaking about, filming and everything, did you have a favorite scene that you really enjoyed filming?
Oh my God, yes. I have, I would say two that I will forever cherish in my heart. One of them was the first kiss with me and Fernando because something really funny happened outside of it. It was this scene where my aunt was sort of checking us out and we were about to kiss, and then he saw her and he like sprinted and he fell down, ripped his pants, and it was this whole moment in the show where everyone was just like worried about his safety, like is he okay? And you could just see me in the camera like laughing, and everyone was like, so that's one of them. And then the second one is happening this season, so I have to like, but it's
No spoilers, yeah.
no spoilers. But for me, filming that was like one of the greatest gifts, and I will always remember that. And I'll get back to you when the season comes out.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to need a recap of everything
Yes,
that happened.
exactly. Go back.
What do you think that you'll miss the most about playing Lorena?
Oh, so much. I'm gonna miss her youthful spirit, her the way she's just very positive with everything that happens in her life. She looks at the good in everything. Her heart, the way she's built these relationships. I think every time I got to get under her skin, my personal life felt lighter. I felt her soul would like weaken the darkness in me. So it was just one of those shoots. Every time we would get to go back and shoot Acapulco, I would feel very happy all the time. And I know this is doesn't happen a lot because when you're filming a drama or something else, you carry a lot of the heaviness that comes with those characters. But with her, it was the complete opposite. She just gave me a lot of light. So I'm gonna miss her a lot.
Oh, I love hearing that. And as the series wraps up, how do you feel about Lorena's journey and where her story concludes in the final season? No spoilers, obviously, but like, how do you feel about it?
Oh, I feel so happy and grateful. I think the way that they concluded her storyline is so beautifully written, and it like fills my heart with joy. It's exactly what I tried to manifest for her. So when they gave me the final episode and I saw that, I was just like bawling my eyes out because it really does end this season with a lot of happiness. And I'm trying to like go around not spoiling
Yeah.
anything, but yes, it really does conclude her growth, her love for Memo, and the love she has for the people that she's surrounded with. So I think everyone that likes this character will be very happy for her.
I'm hyped. Hyped. So, Acapulco's praised for its bilingual nature. How has your bilingual performance in the show allowed you to explore different facets of Lorena? Because language has a lot to do with
Oh
personalities.
my God, so much. I think language is the sort of door to a culture, and if you really dive into it, you get so many layers within the character. So for me, it was about exploring first where she was from, um, which she's from my hometown, which was not that difficult to tap into. And then you add this layer of being bilingual. And I grew up in the border, so I grew up speaking both languages constantly. So my brain is sort of already wired that way, where it's like completely divided. But it was very difficult to sort of tap in and out with Lorena specifically, because she comes from a different context, socially, economic, everything. So I tried in the beginning to sort of establish where her both of those languages fit into her world, because they're a little bit more different than mine. And then as the seasons went on, I feel like everyone in the show just like could go like on, off, on, like, are we speaking Spanish now? Perfect, let's go. And they would change on the daily. Sometimes we would get there and they would be like, oh, I think all of this monologue is going to be in Spanish now. So you're like, okay, wow, this is a different kind of monologue then, because the language changes everything. And I could feel myself when I was Lorena in Spanish being more relaxed, more myself. And then in English, I sort of had to like think a little bit more and sort of fight those layers. But it was fun. It was a great challenge.
That's so awesome. You've worked in theater and film as well. Do you have a preference for TV, film, theater, and do you hope to return to either medium?
I hope to do everything. I hope to do all of them across the board. What I love about TV is that you get to grow with a character. Hopefully, if you get one or more seasons, even if you get one, you do really get to grow. And it's sort of the same with theater. You get to really grow, but it's only one shot, which the pressure sort of helps me sometimes. And I love that type of pressure. And I started in the theater, so it's always going to be like my first love. I hope to go back. And then with film, right now it's something that I would love to do more, just because it's the thing that I have the least experience in, and I want to dive deeper into that. But I love any type of form of storytelling, so I'll eventually dabble in all of them.
I was reading some of the articles that were written, interviews that you've done before, and I noticed that you speak a lot about telling stories that represent the diversity of the Latino community with dignity. And you speak a lot about that. What projects are you most eager to pursue when it comes to that mission, to representing the Latino community with dignity?
Well, I think Acapulco is a great example of that, because as you said, they're telling a story without it feeling like it's at the cost of a community, of a group of people. And I think that's the guideline for me moving forward. If something feels like it's using the Latino narrative simply to cause some sort of reaction or radicalize or use it simply for a negative sort of reaction, I wouldn't do those types of projects. I think we're all people with different types of stories, walks of life. And if the story makes sense, regardless of where you're from, I'll do it without it being the center focus of, we just want to tell a story about an immigrant woman that did this and this and that. No, tell me about her. Where is she from? What happened to her? So I think that I'll be really looking closely at the stories that we're telling and trying to, as closely as possible, be authentic to the Latino community. And it is hard, but I always remind myself I am part of that immigrant community, so I can tell when it's doing us a disservice and when it is not. So I just need to trust my instinct, I'm not an outsider looking in. So that's what I keep reminding myself. Just trust your instinct.
Do you feel like it's a big responsibility? Because it sounds like this next wave of like Latinx talent has is at like a tipping point almost of like, the way that they demand like the dignity and respect and representation.
Yeah, it is a big challenge, because I think one of the important aspects of telling stories of our community is also seeing who's telling them, right? So if we see that the majority of the people telling them are outsiders, then I will have a little bit of a conflict, because there is sort of things that you don't really know or understand if you come from outside of a community. So I do look for balance in that, and balance in writing and directing and everything. But it is hard because you don't get that much, you know? So you have to sort of wage them and see who's making these stories, who's telling them. And again, one thing that Eugenio Derbez would always tell us is you also need to take the lead and tell your own story. So it's something that I've been sort of pondering upon, and really it feels like we are the ones that should be telling our stories. And yeah, I think that's something that going forward we should all take into consideration, because otherwise we do have to sort of see if it's the right type of storytelling. So yeah.
Absolutely. And it's such a double-edged sword because you want to work,
Yeah,
you want to be out there, you want
exactly.
it roles, but where's that line? So I feel your pain and I think
It's
the
a
audience
very thin line.
understands.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's you don't know.
I feel it. So on that same vein, like what advice would you have to aspiring Latinx actors and creators who are trying to break into the industry and tell their own stories and be part of this world?
I think I would tell them to write their own stories. It is a very hard industry to sort of crack into. And the first types of roles you ever get offered or you're auditioning for do feel a little bit like it goes against everything that you stand up for in the Latin community. So if you feel that it's not worthy for you to do, then write your own stories, produce your own short films, sort of get people to come and work with you through your work. And yeah, and I would say keep fighting, you know? keep keep fighting for your dreams, because that's what we're here to do in this world, to keep pushing. And it is hard, but there's a lot of people that have done it before us, and we have a good example. So I'm not worried for our future generations.
Absolutely. And then I have two really quick last questions because I don't want to take up too much of your time. But so kind of fun things. If Lorena were to visit the present day, what do you think she'd be most confused by?
Oh my god. I think she would be very shocked about the fashion, because she's very conservative the way she dresses. So she would be very shocked to see all types of people dressing the way that they want. And I think she would also be very curious to do so. And then what else would she be surprised by? Um, I
How do you
think
think she'll
how
deal
much
with technology?
anything to do with technology and how women have come so far. I think that would inspire her and be very proud of the fact that, especially like Latina immigrant women, how far they've come. So yeah.
And then my last question for you is, do you have, as we're wrapping up the last season, any words to the fans of Acapulco who have followed you throughout the 4 seasons?
Oh, I could get emotional with that, but I'm very grateful for everyone that has watched the show and has been with us these past 4 years. We feel very lucky that a Latino show could last 4 years on a network this big and on a platform that is a global platform. So, and it's all a testament to our audience and the people that continue to support us. So I just want to say thank you. Hopefully, this is not the end of this. And in some way, maybe we'll go back to the 90s. We'll do a spin off. We don't know. But in the meantime, I'm just grateful and full of love for every single person that has watched the show.
I would love a 90s version of
Can
Acapulco. I
you
think I
imagine
would. Oh
that?
my God. Don't even say that. Now I want it. It's on my I
I
need
mean,
it.
we need it. Let's ask the gods of Hollywood.
Well, thank you, Carolina, so much. It
Thank
was so lovely to
you.
get to know you, and thank you. I really appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much. Bye.